Torpedo in the water. Bearing 210. In that instant, a single sentence crackled across a submerged control room and rewrote the rules of engagement in the Red Sea. What happens when you hunt a ghost you can't even prove exists? On April 27, 2025, Houthi rebels tried, and their first clue that they'd aimed at the wrong target was the thunder they never heard. This is the untold story of how one rogue strike on an American nuclear submarine triggered the fastest, deepest, and most surgical maritime counter-operation in modern naval history. 2,200 hours local. Depth 120 meters. USS Colorado, a Virginia-class fast-attack submarine, slipped south beneath the Bab al-Mandab Strait. Officially, she was transiting. Unofficially, her mission was to track weapons shipments funneling through Eritrean ports into western Yemen. The boat ran silent, reactor humming at whisper output, pumps on quiet mode, hull coated in anechoic tiles that drank sonar pings like ink on velvet. 15 miles away, atop a rugged Houthi-held promontory, a pair of Iranian-supplied NUR-1 coastal drones scanned the sea surface with low-power radar bursts. The operators weren't looking for submarines. They wanted the small, unprotected cargo ships that fed Yemeni front lines. Instead, they caught something else, a suspicious temperature ripple, a narrow ribbon of disturbed water that looked, at first glance, like a fast-moving pod of dolphins. Curiosity overrode caution. The Houthis rotated a mobile truck-mounted sonar buoy launcher, popped a disposable acoustic sensor into the drink, and listened. The hydrophone squealed, a fleeting blade rate pattern, alien and deep. They'd never heard it before, but they knew it wasn't dolphins. Minutes later, an improvised attack unfolded. Two explosive-laden unmanned surface vessels, USVs, converted fishing skiffs packed with 500 kilograms of homemade ANFO, shot from a hidden cove, remote-piloted toward the acoustic contact. Their guidance was crude. Visual, GPS, and a stolen commercial side-scan sonar head bolted in the bow. Plenty for hitting tankers. Enough, they believed, for anything else. Inside Colorado, sonar tech Petty Officer First Class Maria Ortega frowned. Her waterfall display bloomed with static, the unmistakable hiss of side-lobe radar bouncing through the water column. Then, a faint cavitation signature, low, irregular, climbing to 25 knots. Surface craft, small prop, wrong side of the sea lane. Con sonar, possible fast inshore attack craft, bearing 315, range 8,000 yards, closing. The officer of the deck glanced at the CO. The response was textbook. Go ultra-quiet. Rig for evasion. Slide deeper. The sub began a controlled descent to 250 meters, fins trimming as smoothly as a shadow-changing shape. The Houthis thought they'd spooked a smuggler. They broadcast an open-band warning in broken English. Stop engine. Identify. You are in Yemeni waters. Silence answered. Frustration spiked. The USVs were commanded to increase throttle. At 23:02, the first skiff's sonar painted a large metallic object just beneath the thermocline. The operator toggled attack mode. A crude algorithm lit a red box on his tablet. Target lock. What he didn't know, submarines fight back without surfacing. Captain Liam Ross needed 30 seconds. That's the time it takes a Mark 48 advanced capability torpedo to cold launch, swim out, and arm. He used half of it to confirm rules of engagement. Hostile craft, declared intent, no friendlies nearby. Fire control plotted 2 attack vectors. Tubes 1 and 2 flooded. At 23:03:20, Colorado fired. 2 Mk-48 ADCAPs rocketed toward the surface like metallic sharks. Each carried 650 pounds of PBXN-109, enough to fold a frigate in half. They never reached maximum depth. Proximity fuses detonated directly beneath the skiffs, shredding fiberglass, fuel, and explosives in twin geysers of steam and fire. Houthi cameras went white, then black. For a second, the sea returned to stillness. Then, the bigger boom arrived. Chain reaction. The Houthis had hidden a resupply barge 400 meters astern of the skiffs, its deck stacked with spare warheads and diesel drums. The concussive dome from the torpedo set off sympathetic detonations. Flames leapt 50 meters high, illuminating the coastline like sudden sunrise. Thermal imagers on orbiting MQ-4C Triton drones flared crimson. Inside PRC-run monitoring stations across the Gulf of Aden, analysts sat up. Within 10 minutes, so did every operations desk from Norfolk to Bahrain. A U.S. asset had been attacked, had responded, and a Houthi coastal battery was now cooking off like a bonfire. Yet that wasn't the end. It was the trigger. Because Colorado had been streaming real-time sonar and photonic mast video back to Task Force 54's Fusion Center in Bahrain. Combined with the Triton feeds, analysts mapped the launch cove, the drone van positions, and, critically, the fiber optic line snaking inland to a hardened command bunker codenamed Foxhole 5. At 1300 hours, CENTCOM issued Execute Order Neptune Lance. Objective: neutralize Foxhole 5, dismantle the coastal network, and eliminate launch assets immediately. Assets on deck: the carrier USS Eisenhower in the Gulf of Oman, guided missile cruiser Monterey, destroyers Bulkley and the Sullivans, plus, quietly, another Virginia boat, USS Oregon, already south of Socotra. The plan fused stealth with speed. Oregon would glide to 40 meters, breach communications mast, and disgorge 4 UGM-109E Tomahawks. Low-flying, terrain-hugging, targeted straight at Foxhole 5's blast doors. Simultaneously, Eisenhower would launch a 4-ship FA-18E Super Hornet raid loaded with AGM-154 CJSOW glide bombs to erase the remaining radar and drone trucks. Total timeline: under 9 minutes from first launch to last impact. Oregon opened her vertical launch tubes. The Red Sea night swallowed the muzzle flash almost instantly. The missiles skimmed west, hugging wavetops, invisible to shore radar until the final climb. 90 seconds later, Eisenhower's flight deck roared alive. Catapults hissed, burners lit, and 4 Super Hornets punched into the dark, shepherded by an EA-18G Growler jamming every Iranian frequency in the Yemeni spectrum. At 0149, Tomahawks punched through Foxhole 5's roof like spears from heaven. 4 near-simultaneous eruptions collapsed 2 stories of reinforced concrete, sealing the bunker and vaporizing its command staff before the first klaxon finished sounding. 17 seconds later, JSOWs glided in from 12,000 feet, each scattering 145 BLU-97 steel titanium submunitions across radar dishes, command vans, and ammunition pallets. The hillside resembled a welding arc, brief, blinding, decisive, total hostile reaction time, negligible. The Houthis radar blinked, screamed, and died. From first torpedo hit to final JSOW detonation, exactly 6 minutes 22 seconds elapsed. When the dust settled, 19 discrete targets, launch boats, radars, fiber hubs, bunkers, were confirmed destroyed. No civilian structures inside the strike box suffered damage. No U.S. aircraft or ship so much as smelled return fire. But the real story was subterranean. Foxhole 5 had been more than a bunker. It hosted a relay that linked Tehran to Sana'a, pushing encrypted drone telemetry and ballistic missile targeting updates. In one night, that pipeline turned to ash. Sunrise painted the Red Sea copper. Commercial satellites captured black scars on the coast, burned hulls bobbing like ghosts. Global shipping alerts rerouted traffic. Insurance premiums spiked. Brent crude wobbled $2 before noon. In Sana'a, Houthi spokesman issued a muted statement blaming foreign aggression, careful not to mention the submarine they claimed they never saw. Iranian outlets hinted at illicit Zionist involvement. Russian state TV pounced on U.S. escalation, yet analysts quietly admired the operational tempo. Washington said little. A single Pentagon briefing confirmed an attack on U.S. naval forces had been decisively repelled. No details, no metrics. The message was implicit. Touch our subs, expect the sky to fall. Why does a half-hour skirmish matter? Because submarines are diplomatic chips with warheads attached. Everyone knows a carrier group telegraphs presence. Big decks, bright radars, noisy escorts. A nuclear sub doesn't. It listens, stalks, and if provoked, strikes unseen. By targeting Colorado, the Houthis shattered the unspoken rule. Don't poke what you can't detect. Their gamble detonated in their faces and rippled outward. Within 48 hours, Egypt quietly invited U.S. Navy planners to expand ASW drills in the Suez approaches. Saudi intelligence requested fresh subsurface threat assessments. Even the PLA Navy, ever present in Djibouti, recalibrated patrol schedules, wary of brand-new dead zones along their logistics routes. Colorado never rose to periscope depth for the cameras. She stayed invisible, slipped onward, her torpedo rooms reloaded, her data cables buzzing. But every coastal commander from Hodeidah to Hormuz updated contingency binders the next morning. Mistake 1. Misidentifying strategic platforms as soft targets. Mistake 2. Assuming reaction time is measured in hours, not heartbeats. Mistake 3. believing critical nodes buried under rock are immune to payback from the sea. The Houthis learned each lesson the hardest way, by losing assets they hadn't finished paying for. Today, shipping whispers again along the Red Sea. Yet captains glance twice at sonar logs, and rebel shore crews think thrice before launching anything that splashes. Because somewhere below, a steel spear glides where satellites cannot see, sonar rarely hears, and radar never touches. A vessel that carries no headlines until provoked, then writes them in fire. The Red Sea episode wasn't just a clash, it was doctrine, broadcast silent, etched in the seabed. If you attack the unseen, expect the impossible. So next time chatter erupts about small militias challenging superpowers with improvised tech, remember April 27, 2025. Remember the wrong submarine, the 6-minute storm, and the smoke that still drifts over a forgotten cove in western Yemen. Which moment changed the game? The torpedo launch, the bunker collapse, or the decision to hide a war inside fishing boats? Tell us below. And if you want deeper dives into unseen battles shaping tomorrow's seas, climb aboard, subscribe, join the crew, and keep sonar alive.